You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
Works like I wanted to, and yes, we're live. Woo!
Oh my!
Yes,
We're live.
oh my.
I always get sort of confused when we do that, like because there's this moment I'm watching the intro,
Jazz
I'm
hands.
talking to Boat, and then suddenly we're live, and I'm wearing a red shirt, and I'm staring at myself on a green screen on Skype, and then in 30 seconds I'll see my face, and wow, nice background, Boat. So what are we looking at?
So this is Kanaka right now. They're a keepstar over here somewhere that online, but like they decided to fight off the keepstar, so I've been watching it for about an hour and a half, and it's hilarious. Waffles is just getting their fleet obliterated.
Oh, yeah.
So you've managed to go ahead and actually get a live background of what's happening. That is fantastic.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about that shortly, actually. We're going to be discussing all of these fascinating things that are happening in the War Up North. So as you guys know, we have more of a structure on the Meta Show now because we're all about order here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to tell you what's going to happen on the show, a little sort of our opening notes at the end of each of our segments. So at the end of the opening monologue, at the end of our top story, and as we go through the show, we're going to be thanking our subscribers and those who donate at the end of each of those segments, such that when we pay our fealty to HypnoKitten, we do not miss anybody out, but we also don't interrupt the flow of us running our mouths. So let's see where we're going to go today. The first thing, and we're going to get this out of the way, is the Goonstorm Finance team has decided to just sort of make it rain on the EVE media space because somebody's got to do this for the community, and has announced a massive pay raise for anybody who is writing for Imperium News. I'm going to go ahead and link the recruiting thread here. Yep. Essentially what this means is that if you are writing for Imperium News, and we are going to be shutting down the Matana.com as soon as we can, probably, hopefully as soon as Tuesday, and porting everything over to Imperium News. When you write for us, you'll get 500 million ISK at a minimum for any article that is publication ready if you're part of the staff. You have your own editor as part of an editorial team, so you're not writing alone in isolation. For long form feature pieces, this goes like for the amazing investigative reporting that the team did for the Olivia scam investigation, that level goes up to 1 billion ISK. And we have bonus payouts for people who get breaking news inside of 30 minutes. So if you commit to doing a breaking news piece about a super capital battle or something like that, you can make 750 million ISK just for doing that if you manage to get the news out there inside of that breaking news timeline. So we're really excited about it. It's really neat to see. I'm delighted. The dev team and the editorial team have been doing a fantastic amount of work, and just watching Matterall, River, Arindis, Finn Ravenna, and Ryan Vincent do their work day in, day out. It's been great to see it come together. So high fives all around there. What else we're going to be talking about this show? Our top story. We're going to have our top story. We're going to be talking about a major issue involving gambling, a statement from CCP's executive producer about the impact of unassailable wealth in EVE Online. Then during our NullSec Power Hour, during the NullSec News, we're going to be discussing the onlining of a Waffles Keepstar just a few minutes ago in Kanaka, where you're actually watching a live feed of that on the background. We're going to talk about the war in the north between CO2 and Test, the war in Catch between Triumvirate and Volt, and God only knows what else is going on there, an Imperium Alliance tournament run by Sothrasil and Wild and friends in the Imperium. And a whole bunch of news about CCP during CCP Please. We've got engineering complexes, upcoming patch notes, all sorts of stuff. So, before we go on to our top story, let's give some shout-outs to the deserving.
Yeah, so we have 6 new resubscribes. We have Battle 89 or 7895, 20 months. Thank you, sir.
20 months.
Nominate for 16 months. Rollanova for 16 months. Misfit a Go-Go 2 months. Stem Peters 2 months, and Hypnospray 7 months. So that's 6 people.
That's
already.
That is a good spread. Now, one of the things we want to note for those of you who love Bezos Bucks is Bezos Bucks, the Twitch Prime resub, doesn't auto-renew. So if you have supported the channel in the past by throwing Bezos Bucks our way, anybody who's an Amazon Prime owner can automatically just get a free subscription to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything, but you do have to remember to mash the button once a month when you feel like it. So if you are a Twitch Prime subscriber and you feel like it and feel like throwing us some bucks, go for it.
2 of our dudes just did that. So they just switched
Awesome.
over their resubscribe to be Twitch Prime resubscribes, and actually 3 of them. So that's good. That's really good.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Well, let's move on. Do we have a fancy graphic for our top story, or do we?
No, I don't have a fancy graphic for the top story yet. I need to get that. That's a good point.
Well, why don't we go to the top story, and I'll just imagine again, jazz hands.
Jazz hands, fine. That's
jazz
perfect.
Hands. Jazz hands. Next week, we'll have this. Why don't we have the Spin Master for next round? We'll go through and we'll do. Just me on a Spin Master 5000 for the transition. So what we have here, let's go ahead and talk about this. So the top story this week is the executive producer of EVE Online, CCP Siegel, gave an interview to Polygon, which is a major games journalism site that some people love and some people hate. Some might say it's sort of like the New York Times of games journalism, both good and bad for all the criticisms, one way or the other. But I'm a fan of Polygon, and I'm particularly a fan of Polygon after this. So, Bo, what was your impression when you first, before I tell everybody my impression, what was your impression from the sucker?
I laughed. Well, I mean, you know this. I don't know if a lot of viewers know this. I've been involved with the whole, like, gambling, war, casino type thing since day one, right? As far as, like, intel and being involved on who's getting what and everything. And to hear the chief of CCP game design. I say chief of CCP because I don't hear from the CEO much, so I like to think of her as the boss of CCP.
Well, she is the executive producer.
Yeah. So the opening title, Unassailable Wealth, when you first click it, it's right there. Was the exact quote that you made in January.
That is
a
familiar quote.
Yeah, isn't it? The fact that she used the exact wording that we said. I think it was said on the Meta Show in January.
Unassailable wealth. So that's the subtext of the headline is unassailable wealth breaks the game. Now, this is significant for a couple reasons, and we're going to get on to news rather than just gloating. But it's significant because for more than a year now, all of the enemies of Goonswarm and the Imperium have been pointing fingers and yelling and screaming about how us saying that I Want ISK was dirty and that casinos were crap because of unassailable wealth. All these things that we were saying on the Meta Show turned out to be true. And not only did they turn out to be true, they were validated by CCP's action in the dev blog of banning I Want ISK and taking, we found out from the economy blog that was finally posted from CCP Quant that I think the number was 37 trillion ISK was removed from the economy as being dirty ISK in the I Want ISK bans. 37 trillion ISK. And that doesn't count the legitimate ISK that was being cycled through sites like EveBet. So the money quote here in this article is, it is meaningless for somebody else to fight a battle in EVE because there's someone out there who has unassailable wealth, and then that becomes a problem for the whole game. If it's not meaningful to fight over the resources inside the game, where we have designed control and can balance that to be a fun experience, then it causes design problems.
Yep. One thing I do find interesting too is that number of 37 billion or trillion does not even include things like if you look at Killer Bee losing 1.5 trillion, but yet got to keep 600 billion as Vanquish, the faction titan. So that had to be paid for by something. He didn't just imagine it out of air.
Because of got a request here in chat, which is a pretty good idea. Can we scoot the chat window on our overlay over to the left or the right?
Yeah, I'll put it over here. Sorry.
It's all good. No, it's a great idea. That's
usually
where we normally have it on the
Cam.
show.
Yeah, usually it's just Gita Cam, but today is different.
I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that we have a live feed of a battle, and we're going to go ahead and move that over there. So thanks for the suggestion in chat, and we will do that. Somebody is saying in chat that the Imperium on this topic, we don't have a guest today. We were going to have Scooter on board, but he had to vanish probably because he had to schmooze somebody. PC Gamer recently declared him to be the one of the best scammers in EVE, which we all know. So we're going to be taking a lot of questions from chat and a lot of feedback as we go through this. The point that somebody's making is that the Imperium should be reimbursed for the damage that we're taking in terms of ISK. I think it is interesting.
Reconciliation.
Reparations. Essentially.
Yes,
reparations.
Yes.
I'm really kind of proud about how we went through that entire thing. I mean, all of these people who were relying upon dirty ISK to fund the war and form the now appropriately named Money Badger Coalition came at us, and they were wondering why we were using interceptors and preserving our super capital fleet. We paid for, we didn't lose anything in these bannings because we earned every single spaceship that you encounter from the Imperium is something that our people earned. We earned it by, our people earned it. Our people have our rules. We used our way of doing things, and we didn't sell out. So one of our Titans actually is like a real Titan, and I think that matters a lot more than casino Titans.
I want to have a laugh. I've been thinking about this for almost a month now, and now that not to get too political, but now that Trump has won, the entire casino war just reminds me of Trump's campaign. Him wanting to get rid of a dirty Congress, him wanting to get rid of a lot of bullshit.
Are you actually doing this?
The reason I say this is because if you look, he wins. Right? And he feels vindicated that everything he was saying got him the victory. And now you look at CCP coming out and saying, okay, casinos were bad. Okay, goons might have been right. It was bad. We want to get rid of this shit. They're quoting us on getting rid of it. They're giving out numbers of, we banned all these people. So it's been hitting my brain for about a month, and I didn't know how to word it. But it's fucking hilarious when you actually compare the two.
I guess it's hilarious.
Well, for me, I'm sorry. I tend not to get into politics too much.
EVE Online is a lot like the victory of Donald Trump because, I don't even know what to say about that. It has been interesting. I do want to point this out. No, actually, I don't think you need to apologize. And here's why. One of the things that, and this is a slight digression, but I think that you do see a parallel between politics happening in the real world and impacting things in the game world. And the wave of the casino bans happens not only because of bad game design, but because of regulation happening in the real world, beginning to impact Valve and beginning to impact CCP. And we might as well mention the political stuff because you brought it up. And one of the things that is fascinating about EVE is, and I'm not some sort of kumbaya singing hippie who plays a ukulele and thinks that peace and love is the answer. But one of the things that is fascinating about EVE Online is there has been a lot of political disruption worldwide over the last year between Trump and Brexit and many other things. And I have seen in other entities, not within the Imperium, people who would be divided by these things. Arguments and chat channels reported through our spy network, the Black Hand. And one of the things that has been really inspiring is that even though this was both with Brexit and with the Trump election, an incredibly bitterly fought thing from within each of these companies, because each of these countries, is that our people have, by and large, just thrown some spitballs at each other, giggled, and have gone back to doing what does unite them across political boundaries, which is rubbishing everybody else. So it's sort of interesting that we've been able to get past it. And that was something I was worried about. I think a lot of people were worried in the UK after the Brexit thing, which was very divisive, and then it's sort of the same thing within the United States. And our people are continuing to treat each other like jackasses, same shit, different day. So that is nice to see from my little bully pulpit.
Sorry, we can move on though.
But yeah, no, I mean, but that's the thing is the fact that we can move on, and that at least our people have been able to do that is something that I think is pretty cool, because I don't see that in other areas and other gaming communities and other areas of the world. So that covers our top story.
Yeah, that's the top story. So we're going to move on now to the next Nullsec Power Hour with our happy hearts. And I love Nullsec Power Hour. It's my favorite part. Maybe CCP, please. I don't know. But there it is. There's our little thing. I still haven't made a GIF out of that. I got to work on that. Maybe I'll contract someone to do it for me. I don't know. Pay some ISK. But the first topic, and the most important one, I think, to come out of this week is the 14th in-game keepstar. I think it's 14 because we were number 13. Has online. The Kanaka keepstar has online. I'll show you that here in about 2 seconds. This was frustrating. I don't know about you, but I've been here since about an hour before it went to go online, and
Well, why don't you tell?
I
Why
wanted
don't
to
you tell the
strangle
story?
some fucking dudes.
This is Waffles, right? And it's in Kanaka.
It's Waffles.
Waffles is Ray's crew, and I got to meet him in Vegas. Cool dude.
Yeah, Rez is pretty cool. I like him.
Yeah,
drunk Russian, I think, or something. Drunk something, but he was drunk the whole fucking week.
As well he should be. And also, I need to... Oh, by the way, since we're moving on to a new segment and we need to follow our own rules, did we need to give anybody shout-outs?
No, we did not, actually.
No shout-outs.
No,
okay,
no
well,
shout-outs
that means that we
time,
need to be asking for subscriptions in Bezos bucks more. We're still relatively new in this whole order and structure
I'm
thing.
bad at reminding people about that. I do it on my show, too. But yeah, so the Kanaka Keepstar, it was discovered 22 hours ago. Like, literally, the second this thing went down, all of Reddit blew up and like, oh, hey, look, Kanaka Keepstar. We knew about it 22 hours ago. All of Eve knew about it 22 hours ago. People were here an hour before this motherfucker was due to come out. You had Waffles and Horde in here, 400 in local. Local hit 550 with their allies MC showing up. And then local starts spiking. At first it was CO2 with 250. Then it was Initiative with 150. And I'm going, oh, goody. And then it keeps going up and up and up, and all of a sudden, there's 1,500 in local. This thing's got like 10 minutes left before it's safe. And I'm thinking, oh, this thing's fucked. There's no PL, there's no NC dot. And then nobody fucking shot the thing.
Yeah.
They all sat on grid. Like, I'm going to show you on my patented screen here. You had a group over here, a group over here, a group over here, a group over here, and Waffles in the middle, and nobody fucking shot the damn thing. And it just onlines. Then, it gets even better. It onlines. So what do they do? Let's warp to an Astra house. Not even the fucking Keepstar. Let's go warp over to an Astra house where the Keepstar doesn't even matter and fight with Capitals.
They fought with Capitals?
Yeah, they used dreads. They warped in dreads. They had faxes, rattlesnakes.
Wait, was it
All right,
Waffles used their Capitals? Who was using Capitals?
Yeah, so this is all Waffles. Just Waffles. So this is how it goes. You have Test Warp over here, untether, like burn off the Astra house. So
I love that you can show this to us live. That's
fantastic. So Test comes in, Horde comes in, is untethered, Snuffbox lands with Nightmares, right? Initiative left. And then everyone pounces on Horde. So what's Waffles do? They just warp over with MC out of tether range and start fighting, right? We need a squeaky beat for description. Okay. And then...
we can actually do that in the middle of talking.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so
that's a good idea. I like that.
So the thing, they land out of tether range. This is out of tether range. They start fighting. Now it's literally like 5 big ass fleets, 2 battlecruiser fleets, Nightmare fleet, something else, versus like rattlesnakes and a few hurricanes. You'll notice over here is like the dead pile of Horde hurricanes. They all got obliterated by Snuffbox. Snuffbox was shooting 4 hurricanes at a time with Nightmares, just obliterating them. Then Waffles becomes the only bitch left on grid, because MC ran, as per MC always runs. And then they warped in dreads and sieged them. Like, oh, our dreads will be safe. And they end up losing like 4 or 5 dreads, they lost 4 or 5 facts, a ton of rattlesnakes, and killed
do we have a battle report for this sucker yet?
Yeah,
somebody in chat.
It's still analyzing. The Eve battle report takes a while. A couple hours sometimes.
So, I mean, this is a weird thing, because, I mean, Initiative brought Macarial fleet, right?
Initiative brought Macarial fleet, sat there on the Keepstar, it onlines, they warped to an anomaly, and then they never appeared on the fight. They didn't even get involved.
Now, I mean, what do you think happened here? Why do you think these guys didn't fight?
No centralized leadership. Like, I wanted to just go into each of their comms and go, look, motherfuckers, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go, boom. It's like, they all showed up expecting their buddies to do it.
I bet you, actually considering the disparate group here, and so one of the things that's important to note here is that Out of Sight did turn up, and Out of Sight, which lives in Venal and is Nink's group of Russians, is hostile to PL and NC Dot and Waffles as a result, because PL started taking their moons in Venal, the whole N5Y campaign there. And what we've started seeing recently is propaganda in the Northern War, which we're going to be talking about in a few minutes, which this is sort of part of, functionally, of Out of Sight joining with Test and CO2 on the side of what they're calling the good guys. And so what's curious here is that it kind of seems to me, and I mean, who was it? Was Snuff turn up with a Nightmare fleet?
Yeah, Snuff's here with Nightmares. That's their like new thing they do whenever they're fighting like battlecruisers and shit. They'll just bring Nightmares.
Right.
Shield Nightmares,
it kind of seems to me that like everybody turned up to the Keepstar party expecting somebody else to fight and expecting somebody else to blow up the Keepstar,
right,
or make a run at it. And so everybody just, even though the forces that were hostile to Waffles totally outnumbered Waffles and could have shot the Keepstar, nobody, and they brought heavy hardware, Nightmares, Macarials, like
they easily would have DPS capped it, and they would have stayed out of damage range because Waffles was dead center, and the Keepstar is so wide that one fleet can go on one end, one fleet can go on the other, and neither fleet gets shot at.
So they essentially just had
allowed
the
it to
ability
happen.
to win. They got there and they stared awkwardly at each other, waiting for somebody to step up and lead.
And it just didn't do it. Not a single group shot it. OSS started shooting at like the initiative Macarials. Snuff warped in like with 2 minutes to go, but didn't shoot it. Test didn't even make it on grid time. Fucking CO2 was the first people in system. Motherfuckers didn't even come on grid with the damn thing until it was online. So it's like, what the fuck?
Wow. This is why we need to make what we're doing is we're making Eve safe for autocracy, right? Like,
yes,
it's
democracy sucks in this game.
Yeah, no, that is actually Seabass has a hilarious comment. It's like a junior high school dance. We were in the middle of an Illum meeting, and we had formed up a Caracol fleet to go stomp on a Spectre fleet visitation thing, sort of a good fight thing. And so we had this Caracol fleet ready to go. And we're like, well, should we reroute it up north? And Boat is watching it and going like, let's do it. And then I'm like, well, is somebody going to actually shoot the Keepstar? And then instead of doing that, Out of Sight starts shooting the initiative, and then all that fails. So you just got to wonder what the hell is going on up there, which is a pretty decent segue into just the rest of the Northern War. Boat, I mean, you were up there yesterday bombing, and NC. And PL, of course, with Horde, are attacking CO2 and Test and Friends in tribute. And NC. Lost a bunch. NC. Ended up, like, even though they have all the caps and supers, PL and NC. And the support with Horde and MC as well, what the hell happened yesterday?
Oh, yeah, so Northern War. A lot of news on Northern War this whole week, actually. Not just yesterday, but the whole week. So it starts yesterday. C2X iHub and TCU went online safely. I know a lot of people might... Oh, hello. Apparently there's a fight going on at the station. I'm going to transfer over there. Just 1 second. So, yeah. C2X, iHub, TCU, fight. CO2 starts losing pretty right off the bat. They're dealing with speed pulls. They're dealing with a lot of stuff. We're throwing bombs for comedy's sake, and then all of a sudden, they start winning, and ended up winning the whole thing. And PL didn't show up. No PL in sight. It was Horde, MC, for a little bit, MC was there, and then, what's it called? NC. And NC. Brought their Titan Supers, what they've been bringing, and a small Proteus fleet, but that Proteus fleet got pretty fucked up by a combined battlecruiser fleet from Test and CO2. The funny thing about that is the Test FC was a brand new guy. I think it was his first ever fleet. So they effectively lost the opportunity to beat that. Oh, holy shit. Initiative just dropped dreads in here. What the? Oh, wait, no.
Shit.
Yeah, Initiative has dreads on the field. What the fuck?
Shit is getting real, boys and girls. We don't know why shit is getting real, because
I
don't
might die,
know.
But it's kind of hilarious either way.
It is fascinating when you have the situation where you have all of these parties are now escalating in Kanaka when the strategic objective, which could have been achieved...
Yeah, so CO2 wins. And I don't know how the fuck they win. They had fax hackers they could have used. Their faxes never hacked. They just sat there. So one thing NC. Did that was very unique, I've never seen anyone try this. They parked 2 super carriers and 1 fax at every single iHub node. And just sat there going, okay, come, hit this thing. But the problem with that is that nobody cared. Like, they just brought in a rapier at range and hacked the motherfucker and walked out. Like, it did nothing.
It seems like there's a lot of, I mean... the thing that just keeps coming up with this Northern War situation is it seems like there is a lack of command and control on both sides. I mean, but there's more command and control with like Test and CO2. Like, you've got GigX, and apparently Villia is stepping up. We actually got to see. Yeah, you're getting yellow box boat. Make sure. That
I know. I'm more than fine. Don't worry. I'm 100
famous last words.
40 kilometers away from a cormorant that can't even shoot me anymore.
We have. Test, actually, Villy stepped up, and I'm going to link here in chat.
I forgot to get this. Yeah.
We have Test has released a military update But I think that when Vili wrote this, it was before Test and CO2 had that victory yesterday. And so the military update seems kind of despondent, I guess. But they've managed to just take the PL and NC dot organization and just run it into a ditch.
So here's how it looks from the perspective of me there. Oh my god. So Initiative is getting three-wayed. Like, they're getting Snuff on them, which looks like the start of the fight. Looks like they have Snuff shooting them, OSS shooting them, Rattlesnakes are shooting them, and now Test is on grid to shoot them. So Initiative is about to get kabloomed if they don't get out of here. Anyways, back to this. This is actually kind of hilarious. So with these timers, it looks like NC Dot does like silly things. So NC Dot will go, okay guys, we want to win this timer, like with the Fortizar, and they bring the house. So on the Fortizar kill mill, they had 57 Titans, right? They didn't even need PL. Like, there was nothing they're going to do against 57 Titans. I mean, it's just the way it is. PL was in standby. And they won the objective. No big deal. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. And then...
Fire off your Squeaky Bee. We got a sub. We're going to make you do that. There you go.
I usually do it for resubs on my show, but that's fine. Then... Wait, why didn't that pop up, though, to say he subbed?
It did. Diesel 1975.
No, it popped up in chat, but it didn't pop up on the screen.
I thought I saw it. I don't know. Maybe HypnoKitten was just stunned.
Yeah, so anyways, it looks like whenever NC Dot wants to try and win, they win. Nothing CO2 could do. On times like this, they get farmed. They lost 50 billion yesterday. They lost the objective. CO2 easily kept C2X. Now, the reason C2X is a big deal, the reason I'm saying, C2X and out of all week, is that C2X is a cynojammable system that's really close to MO. And the, borderline 15W back is all cyno-jammed. So you lose that iHub, you lose that cyno-jammer. And that big wall of cyno-jammers is making it really hard for NC Dot to move in on MO. Because they can't get through these cyno-jammers. They can't jump past 15W, they can't go back into these back-end systems, they can't get into MO, so they're getting, locked out, right? And so that's a big deal. And the fact that they couldn't win this iHub is hilarious. They even lost a few facts that did absolutely no hacking mods, they did nothing. So I don't even know what the fuck NC Dot's doing. And then on the CO2 test side, CO2 tests are very organized. Even like I said, a newbie FC was FC'ing with a little bit of a backup from an experienced FC, they still won. They still killed facts. They didn't get killed. I tried to bomb them. They got away. They got lucky. Things like that. So
I mean, when did you think this thing would be over? When this kicked off?
I thought
more than a month ago.
I really thought that they would have headshot MO just by their numbers, because they could literally drop the house in MO, take out the iHub, the TCU, the station. Now you got no cyno-jammer, and then they can work on the Fortizars in there, or they can slowly pick them down to a keepstar and then make this grand battle. They're not doing it. It's like PL's not interested. We'll go down a little bit in the new Nullsic Power here. PL decides to go south and get involved in a catch war. They've been to 2 fights down in Catch. They took Horde with them one time. PL's has not even shown up to these fights. I've been there all week with Bomberwolf, and not a single PL fleet
They lost. I mean, CO2 did lose a Fortizar in 15W attack, right? And they didn't really fight for it. So I mean, one of the things
that's the interesting thing too is so they didn't fight for it, but on that second timer, right before the thing was due to die, because they didn't even show up for the final timer, right? But on that second timer, it goes reinforced. They undock 150 dreads. PL was in a really bad spot, right on top of the Fortizar. So they undock.
We were watching that on the stream. You were streaming that.
They undock 150 dreads, and I'm thinking, okay, that's going to get Doomsdayed off. There is a lot of fucking PL Titans here. Mm-hmm. But then, PL just walks out, they dock up, nothing comes of it. So, it's very confusing, this war up north. It's not like the war we had with us, or even previous wars in the game, where it's like, okay, we're going to go in, we're going to eliminate these dudes, and that's the war. It seems
maybe it's because they don't have infinite money. They don't have unassailable income anymore, so maybe they're just pussyfooting around.
I don't know. I mean, they pulled their keepstar to 93PI. They lost it this week. 93PI is no longer owned by NC Dot.
They being NC Dot. Yeah, they had a keepstar and they decommissioned it.
They decommissioned it.
The war of half-ass aggression.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's good.
As much as Horde could easily make the big push. Now, the thing is we've seen updates from Horde. There was a Gobbins update that was leaked. It was deleted really quickly after, but it got to Reddit. I don't have a link to it because I could not find it. I was looking for it today. Someone can link that. That'd be cool. But it's 3 pages long, and it's basically Gobbins going, okay, we were hoping to have tribute by Alpha Clones, so newbies could easily get the tribute. It's 4-5 jumps from Jita. Alpha Clones could get there easily. We can resupply easily. That would have been awesome. But now we're not going to have tribute in that time frame, so now we got to look at our Alpha Clones. So it's looking like Horde's going, what are we going to do? Do we want to push for Alpha Clones and really focus on home? Or do we want to focus on this war and really push into this war and bring all our newbies in like we did during World War B? Because if you remember World War B, they did that, right?
I don't know anything about World War B. I only know of a
sorry,
Casino War.
Just thinking of...
No, it's fine. It's just kind of funny because we
it's
get
hard
to
to
now
forget
that,
sometimes.
Now it is. Well, it's easy. Yeah. It's going to forget eventually because, we have EVE Online's executive producer talking about unassailable income in the Casino War. So time heals all narratives. But one of the things that is funny about the Horde updates, and this is something that sort of calls back to Vegas, is, you read people's updates, and I have a ridiculous persona. Like when I come up here on the Meta Show, I'm very different from when I'm doing a fireside chat. I sort of put my Space Rush Limbaugh hat on when I'm doing a Meta Show. And I met Gobbins in Vegas, and I've been reading Gobbins' updates and things through the Casino War and all this stuff. And the single most alarming thing about a Gobbins update is he actually believes it all. Like it's not,
there's right there, by the way.
There's no facade. The sort of earnest naivete, the sort of smarminess about it. That just seems to be who he is, and that was, kind of alarming, I have to say.
It's weird. I don't know. It kind of. I think it has something to do with. I mean, maybe Waffles is a little different with Reza having more control, but it seems like with Horde and PL, they're going a hands-off approach here. They're just okay. You guys go do your thing. All their leaders are kind of AFK. I haven't seen Gobbins other than this post he made at all in any of these fights. Usually he's very vocal and local. He's there. You haven't seen him. You've seen a couple of shit tier FCs. Trying to run fleets. Another thing that's been noticeable too is we only took bombers up there. Like Bomberov's the only one up there, right? Yet all of them have made warnings. Okay, Bomberov's here. Fly shit that can't be bombed, which is very interesting because you're used to seeing Horde throw 200-300 Hurricanes at the problem, or even Maelstroms when they first reinforced the Fortizar, and they haven't brought either out at all week. It's been Sveeples. So you're seeing things like that. You're seeing, instead of Macario fleets from NC. You're seeing T3 fleets and Capitals. So things that, T3's fleets can't be bombed unless you got like 90 bombers and you get really lucky and they don't get fucked with in any way. So that's an interesting point there. Also, you're starting to see the back and forth here. You'll notice on Dotland, there's no reason to link it. I mean, you can find it easily yourselves. The systems that seem to be falling are those same Yumi B-7, AW1 chip tier systems. Like the iHub or TC will change hands every week, right? NC will have it today, CO2 tomorrow. And then NC will take it today, and then it just keeps back and forth. So I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Maybe the answer is that instead of having the sort of strategic level command, so GigX just has to play defense.
Right.
GigX, leader of CO2, knows strategy. He might not implement it well, but he is a strategic thinker. Same deal with, when Vili is engaged, Vili understands strategy, even if he is more of a in-the-trenches tactician. So on the defense side, you do have people who are strategic thinkers, but you don't really get to execute that much because they have to hold the line and delay and deny and destroy, right? That's how defensive war works. But the guys who are running the NC Dot and PL and Horde side, maybe the reason why this seems like such a slap fight is that the guys who are going on offense, they're not going for killing blows. They're not trying to cut throats. They don't really seem to be they're not going for any actual lasting victory. Yeah, it's like they're just sort of like they're trying to fight. It's like an entirely tactical. Oh hey, we want to battle. Oh hey, we want to battle. And it's like they just don't know how to put tab A into slot B.
Well, here's another example, right? So you had a fight over an R64 and E-O, I believe it's an R64. NC Dot did its usual, let's drop all of our caps and no subcaps, and they still lost the moon. The moon still died. NC Dot lost it. I think they were able to put a new one down, NC Dot was. But by using a shitload of dictors, the links in here, they were able to hold those, waterboard them in a way, Yeah, sure, they lost a few maelstroms or whatever, but they took the moon. And the fact that a bunch of subcaps were able to steal a moon away from a bunch of supers, titans, and super carriers and fax machines, it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Like, how do you
waterboarding... I mean, it's because they didn't bring any subcaps support. I mean, we used that tactic ourselves. Right. Waterboarding, for the viewers who haven't seen it before, waterboarding is our delightfully named tactic that we came up with during the Halloween War. When dealing with a wrecking ball before BR5, we couldn't destroy it until BR5, but what you could do is when you had a bunch of supercaps and capitals without subcap screening, you just drop Dictor bubbles on it over and over and over and over again, and you ruin the gameplay of the poor bastards there because they're just getting stuck in a fleet, and they can't leave until everything is clear because they can't leave their own people behind, otherwise they'll get killed by the subcaps. So you have the supercap fleet and then it's just stuck there getting bubbles dropped on it, being waterboarded for potentially hours, and that's what Tess did, and props to them for that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the Northern War has been really strong. Like I said, there are a lot more parties being involved, a lot of salt, I guess is the proper term, or upsetness. I don't know if the word salt works, but you see it on Reddit all the time. But a lot of upsetness in Villy's update because it said, "Look, we're fighting against all of these alliances versus Tess." But what's failed to be realized is that Tess CO2 combined have as many as all these little alliances. You know, NC.'s got a couple thousand members, PL's got a couple thousand. Horde's big, but you know it's Horde, so that big number is just because they don't kick anyone ever, right? So it doesn't look as Villy makes it out. So it's very interesting to read that. But yeah, that's Northern War. That's pretty much it.
Let's talk about this cache thing.
All right, so Catch kicks off this week. So everyone's been watching Try for a couple weeks. We've been waiting on... yeah, I know it's not a word. I don't care. They've been waiting on Try to deploy. Try announced internally today we're deploying... all the insider information from Try, even some of the guys that were at FanFest in Try, were told, hey, we're going north, we're taking supers, we're taking dreads, we're going to go help PL kill CO2. And that was what everyone was saying until this week. And kaboom, all of a sudden they deploy one system over from Volt and have invaded Volt and started hitting Volt systems and Fortizars and shit of the sort. And I don't have many battle reports to link, but the sides are Volt, Lumpy, Stain. Volt has officially joined Stain Russians as the replacement to the old group that got cooed. I forget what they're called, but so Volt is officially at Stain Rush now. That was announced this week. And Lumpy has an agreement with Stain Russians to help them in case FCON gets involved. And then you have on the other side, FCON, Try, and Pets. The reason I include FCON here is all week, FCON's been telling all of the diplomats all over the game, our side and everyone else's side, oh, we're not involved. We're just here in case any, deals are broken, but they've made it to every fight and never missed a fight. So,
well, of course, FCON really cares about not breaking deals.
Or FCON being honest.
FCON.
I'm pretty sure I'll get an essay from someone that watches the show every week. Their CEO going, well, we're not involved, here's why.
So we've got a bunch of dead dreads on both the Fraternity, Darkness, etc. side, and this is just a weird mix of people.
Yeah, so this is the battle report. So what happened was this happened, I believe, last night in Haddock, which is in Curse. I think this is one in Haddock.
Yeah, this is just a few hours ago. It's like 10 hours ago.
This last night. So yeah, Fraternity and all them were doing something versus Try, and then PL and some other people just showed up. And it's interesting because PL brings a Proteus fleet, which is more than they've brought to the Northern War in like all week. And all of a sudden they're coming out of wormholes in Proteus fleets. And it's a very confusing fight because I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. I've never seen Try flying T3s, but now they're flying T3s with shield capitals. I mean, I'm confused as fuck by this battle, but
this is just a mess.
Yeah, the South is a mess.
This is fascinating. This is just like, it does seem like there's a sort of a lack of coordination across the board here. I mean, both with the war in the north and in the east. Well, I mean, it's because Goonswarm and the Imperium have been defeated and scattered to the winds. So
I guess people forgot how to war. I mean, you haven't seen any viable timers. Like the last timer was a Fortizar went into 15% armor before they were able to stop the damage. And Try was like, oh, good fight, you saved it, good job, high five. And it's like, wait, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't even fucking know. I've been trying to keep up with that. I've got some friends in Spain that keep me updated once in a while, and no fucking clue what's going on.
You know, I was thinking about, like, talking about FCON here for a bit, is, you know, Vegas kind of got my
Oh, thanks, Ethan.
mental juices flowing, as it were, regarding, like, FCON related things. You know, I was wondering, you know, why was it when we had the CFC in the early days of the Imperium, why was it that the guys in Goonswarm really couldn't stand out of, you know, everybody always has friction with allies one way or another. But before the CO2 betrayal, Goonswarm was constantly, our guys just couldn't stand FCON. Of anyone, it was always, fuck FCON, shoot these guys, things like that. Even though FCON didn't really do anything to us. And when I was at Vegas and I was looking around on, like, Saturday night, when after the Chateau party, like, half of our guys went off to the Crazy Horse 3. Another half of our guys went to the Hard Rock, like, fetish ball Halloween thing. And, I mean, you know, basically we had unironic security concerns because this year we didn't want to have the riot cops called on us again.
Right.
And suddenly it made sense to me, because it was basically like, you know what, like, with our crew, at least particularly in Goonswarm, like, FCON was in many ways sort of the opposite. Like, they're like the sort of preppy good kids in the EVE Online high school, right? Like, no scamming, no ganking, honor, honor, honor.
Well,
and that's sort of like the exact opposite
worse
of
than that, though.
the kind of fuck you, juvenile delinquent, weed smoking crew that we have.
Yeah, it's even worse than that, too, because they were the kind... I would even say, take it a step further than preppy kids. They were the spoiled rich kids, right? They didn't go to the let's get drunk and high party. They went and sipped their drinks at their own home and invited only their little group of friends. And that's how I think of FCON, and a lot of people hated FCON. They didn't do Burn Jita, ever. Their members had to, like, sneak in with neutral
you know,
characters.
I wouldn't even say spoiled rich kids, because speaking as a spoiled rich kid,
well,
you know, we get into a lot of trouble too. It's more like being a teacher's pet.
If you think
like,
like
a
80s, like,
teacher's pets,
well, like,
right?
think like 80s movies, spoiled rich kid, the ones that everyone made fun of. I don't know. That's how I see FCON, because FCON was always at home. They would get these massive numbers for their own homeland shit. They did this the other day with our Astra House. They had like 400 dudes. They boasted about how many they had, and then they showed up to help try this week with like 60 dudes. And that's a very famous moniker. A lot of my guys in Bomberwolf hated FCON, because FCON would say, okay, you come help us, we're going to have all these dudes, but then when it came to helping other people, they wouldn't show up in much. Or, if they did help other people, it was in bullshit that didn't matter at the end of the day, that wasn't really useful. You saw what that happened in MO when they got bombed, because we said, don't bring hurricanes, and they brought hurricanes and got bombed by Villy. And then you have the same thing happen with the way that their like leadership structure is. You have Tarquinius is both their CEO and head diplomat, and their head diplomat is actually their best recruiter, and he's not even officially a diplomat because Tarquinius doesn't let him do any diplomatic stuff. So it's weird. They're just a weird fucking group, and I've never seen them at real life events. I mean, I've been to a couple of these now, and I've never seen an FCON person.
I've seen lots of FCON people. Like, they actually have turned out, and, you know, in person, they're relatively chill, normal dudes. Like, it's just, and that's the reason why. Like, I don't think of them as like spoiled rich kids, because spoiled rich kids can be complete assholes.
Horrendous points it out. There you go. Snooty yacht preppies.
Yeah, so it's just sort of like a weird thing, but like the Vegas thing sort of brought that up, and trying to realize, like, you know, why was it that guys in Goonswarm couldn't stand FCON compared to SMA, compared to Executive Outcomes, compared to any of our other allies? There's always this particular animus towards FCON, so it is interesting to see them getting involved in a war, and I think after Vegas I kind of have like a better understanding of what it is, because they're sort of like, they're not just like random puppies, they're basically like the exact opposite of what Goonswarm stands for.
Right. But
anyway,
getting off the
enough
stuff,
shitting on FCON.
That's the wars. So moving on, two quick things. These won't take long, and then we'll move on to CCB, please. So we have two things. We have the Imperium Alliance tournament's coming, and another little thing I'm going to share in a moment. So the Imperium Alliance tournament, it's not public out there. It's in-house Imperium, but the way it's working is we're going to simulate the Alliance tournament, 7 ships on 7. It's probably going to be live streamed. It's over a 2-weekend period of time between 18 and 2200 EVE. It's being handled by a guy named Sothersol. The cool thing about that is that outside of the Imperium, you're allowed to participate on a team if they ask you to come play, as long as it's an Imperium guy leading it. We have at least 10 teams, maybe more by now, and the prize pool is getting pretty big. It was at 10 billion last I looked. It might be even higher. And we're going to probably use the new server. We're trying to talk to CCP, apparently South Australia, about using the new server, which simulates the Alliance Tournament and allows you to do commentating, because it'll show the same like bracket setup the Alliance Tournament has, and do the same boundaries and all that stuff.
And
Skeptic,
we will
their guy
be
says
live
it
streaming.
will be live streamed. So yeah, it is
we're gonna do
happening.
that here.
I'm
Awesome.
participating with a team. Last week I put in for a Bomberwolf team finally, and I've been working on that, and it's going to be hilarious. And as far as I know, I heard this from Wild at both Vegas and just this week, that Elise and possibly a couple others are going to commentate it. So there actually is going to be a commentation by actual legit commentators. Some chill dudes are participating, and the server's called Thunderdome. Yeah, so if we get access to it, we'll be doing it there. It's the first and second week of December, so right after Thanksgiving and right before Christmas, on the weekends, and it should be kind of hilarious. So if
Awesome.
all the Alliance Tournament rules, I think we got rid of a couple of rules that make the Alliance Tournament really fucking weird, like no officer mods period or no flagship, because there's only 7 teams, and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of hilarious. So that I'm looking forward to that. And then also something that was brought up to me by a couple of outside people, and I created a Reddit thread about it.
Oh boy.
Is that CCP released some numbers. Their economics team did a numbers release. Since Goons Are Dead, I titled this goonsaredead.jpg, and it's an image of Dotland. And on this image, you see the top 10 systems in terms of NPCs killed, rats killed. 9 of the 10 are in Delve. So, as per was just a year ago, we now dominate the ratting kill. The only other one was a Care for Kids system that had a couple of Nixes that used to rat there.
Clearly, no. This clearly doesn't actually count.
And it gets even better.
This is an API error.
Right, right. To give you an idea, it gets even better, right? So goons don't use their space. That was a moniker that was quoted by a lot of people, that goons don't need all of this vast amounts of space because they don't use it. They only need like one region. To give you another idea, in terms of mining done, we outnumbered the highest high-sec system by almost 1 trillion ore worth, I think. We almost doubled the next high-sec system. So someone says, "Oh, you're bragging about PvE," but that's a big part of this game, especially with the
now
new stuff
everybody
that's
has
coming
the PvE. I mean, I don't know whether you guys saw not a few minutes ago, about an hour ago, there was a PL mining Rorqual that got shot down without worth about, and I think it's from Habit, Elise's Corp.
Right.
4.5 billion-isk loss mail. That's the thing is that nobody gets to stick their nose in the air and say that they're too good to do PvE, because everybody actually has to earn their Titan.
The reason
you can't just go, "Oh, I have a casino and so I get free money and stuff." So get out there and mine and rat, boys and girls. There's no more elite PvP, no more casino money for you.
So people are laughing at this, but the reason this is brought up and the reason I want to address it is that a big part of EVE's push over the last 6 months has been for 0-0 to be a self-contained, livable place that you don't need to go to high-sec. With these new citadels that are released, a whole bunch of changes to the Rorqual and mining, you can effectively stay in 0-0, building things, doing things, and if you've got really good infrastructure, you'll never have to go to high-sec again, and it's starting to show that with the way Delve is working, and there's a couple other regions that are trying to do that, especially in the drones. And with Rorquals, that's going to get even bigger. Rorquals can't operate in high-sec, so it's going to change the dynamic of mining insanely. Like, I might even mine with one Rorqual just because of the sheer amount of money that is possibly produced. So this is the reason I bring this up. It's not really as big a deal. Some people like it, but I think it's a big deal because it...
Well, it is. I mean, this is EVE now. Everybody has to play EVE, right?
Yep.
Everybody has to play EVE the same way. Money comes from income sources that can be attacked. There is no more casino bullshit. I'm sure that PL has a stockpile of some of this stuff, but already we're starting to see ratting and Rorqual losses. And it's just going to be good to see. It's a shame. It's a shame that Goonswarm and the Imperium have been destroyed and scattered. And I think that these are just photoshops that you have created. I think that you also photoshopped a CCP economic report to spread lies and propaganda that Goonswarm and the Imperium still exist in any capacity.
Yeah. So that's the end of the nullsec power, and we're going to move on. I think this is the right image.
Let's give some shout-outs.
Oh, yes, shoot, I almost forgot. Hey, Tuzzy, 2 months. Bears81, who actually won a Eve skin yesterday during my show, brand new sub.
Excellent.
So that's awesome.
Thank you.
And then Olar Eggleston has 2 months, and Diesel1975 is a new sub. So that's awesome. We have four subs. Here we go. Don't forget,
Awesome.
so I don't forget to mention, you can follow, you can subscribe, and you can donate, and there's links to do all that down below. So don't forget to press those buttons. They're pretty cool. And now we move on to CCP Please, which I'm going to create our lovely CCP Please wizard hat image. I love this wizard hat. It's so good. Oh, God, this wizard hat. So, CCP Please. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting segment, because there's a few things that are coming up. And the first one I want to get to, since we're... I think
Cloud Rabbit, thank you. I don't know whether we missed you in the shoutouts.
Wait, hold on. Oh, he subbed during my show, I think.
Oh, good on him.
New follower, yeah. Okay, so during my show recently, I think I talked about it, but I don't remember. Or just the thing broke, I don't know. Anyway, the point is, moving on.
You got a shout out anyway.
Yeah, CCP Please. Very first and most important thing, and I don't have a link. Actually, I might have a link for this. Hold on. CD keys. So people that buy the game, I don't know how archaic this is, but it is a thing. CD keys in EVE, if you have them, you have till Tuesday to use them, or they go null and void. So if you have old CDs with a little CD key on the back, and you use it to play EVE, and you haven't saved that key or put it into Steam or done something like that, or if you want a special edition of EVE that has a CD key, use it or lose it. That's Tuesday. I have a link for you coming up shortly. I just saw this yesterday, and I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know those CD keys were a thing.
That's an ancient history right there.
Okay, so yeah, so that that happened. So that's just a real quick thing. I'll have a link for that shortly, and there's not much to talk about with that. Next thing, engineering complexes are going to be big. I could not find the link I was looking for with this, but CCP made an announcement just a couple days ago, actually, saying, okay, look, these new complexes are going to be game-breaking. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it so POS and stations don't produce as well with blueprints on certain things, like Titans or supercarriers. And it's going to take twice as long to make a Titan than a POS starting this patch. So if you don't put down this complex and you start a Titan build job after the patch, you are going to be sitting there for 6 weeks instead of 3 weeks. So they are really wanting people to use these new
So when
things.
they say that they're big, they're not just saying, we're not just saying, okay, you can do an engineering complex and whatever, but you can still keep things the way they were. They're actively adding a nerf to production using the old system. So if you want to do any kind of serious anything, you need to get off your ass and make ECs, which is great for everybody because
this is big.
People will start building their supers and ECs, and then later they're going to be patching them in, at least according to their current roadmap, the ability to show you what is in production. Because you can potentially have hundreds of builds in one EC. There's nothing stopping you.
The builds increased for like stations, structures, super caps, and caps. So not subcaps, but it's still things. And it will add the 3 weeks number as based on time to build a Titan takes about 3 weeks, 21 days. And then that'll double because they're doing a 100% increase on Titans. Are you sure, Bo? I thought this was just BPO copy and research times. It's either production or research times. Either way, I can't find the link. That's why I'm not 100%
Super
sure.
caps,
Just look for it.
Structures.
Just look for it. It's out there. CCP posted it. It's on their forums. I could not find the link. I've been trying to find it all day. And
I just put the patch notes.
Yeah, those are the patch notes, so it might be in those also. But yeah, it's a big deal. CCP's already said, hey, eventually we're going to get rid of POS and go to these new structures only. And this seems like a big push for that, because who the fuck's going to want to build a Titan that takes literally twice as long? You know, that'll be a fucking nightmare. So,
research and manufacturing.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's huge. So yeah, you're going to want to get these new structures down, and you're going to want to get them down quick.
For structures, caps, and super caps. So basically for all the strategic level production, and that seems to be a good fit because the strategic level production is something that you want to incentivize people to use the new complexes because there's more gameplay around complexes than there is around POS in general.
And people are going to want to use these new complexes. They're so fucking good. Like the research amount.
Well, now they're really
speed,
good because being able to do a Titan in 4 weeks and do supers in 3 weeks is huge.
Yeah, so being able to do it side. And then we'll go again. Oh, I apologize. So someone just pointed out to me, and during our last segment where I linked that screenshot, that came from Elysium. It wasn't just from random people. It was from Elysium. So I apologize to the people in Elysium.
So it is and this is a key thing. So Tiger Extreme linked in
Yes,
chat.
there it is. I got it.
We have Titans and Supercarrier blueprints. Titans and Supercarriers doubles doubles
Yes.
the amount of time it takes to build a POS.
That's crazy.
Carriers,
Yeah.
dreads, regular caps takes a third additional, so 33% as long. So it's not much longer compared to like Titans and Supers, but their CCP is really saying if you want to build Supers, you gotta do it in an EC.
And
period.
the same thing with the upwell structure. So these new structures and citadels will have to be built there. And that's a big deal too. The old system is 4 weeks. The new patches will be, it'll be crazy. So this was just posted by Fozzie the 8th, which is just a couple days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago. And it's a big change. So pay attention. If you do building, I had to tell someone today about this that had no idea it was coming. Make sure you get that. Corn's got me the link. Thanks, Corns. And someone else did it in chat too. Okay, and moving on. Alpha clones are coming. They come to 15th, which is just a couple of days away. CCP and their patent do it on a Monday or Tuesday when everyone's at work. So alpha clones are coming. That's going to be huge. A lot of people aren't really focusing on alpha clones. They're focusing on a lot of the new stuff that affects them personally. But you're looking at a possible game changer here and the number of people that come back to EVE. I know at Vegas, there's people that went to Vegas just to be in Vegas. We're like, yeah, I'll make an alpha clone, I'll play. I've seen people in Goonswarm's Elysium talking about, hey, I'm thinking about making an alpha clone because I don't have to pay for the game anymore. You know, I'll come back and run fleets from my cruiser. And
it's going to be a lot easier for people who want to casually get back into EVE, right? People, instead of like, you got to get a Plex, you got to resub, you got to do all this other stuff, you can just have an EVE account. And when you feel like playing, even if you only play like once every couple of months, I think you're going to see for the larger alliances that have deeper infrastructure and older cultures, so the alliances in the Imperium and particularly Goonswarm are in this category, where we can say, okay, well, guys, you know, we need you to fly an Eeyore frigate, because, you know, at a mass scale, like a fuck you fleet, as we call it, you have 1 million dudes and like crucifiers and stuff. It makes a huge impact on a fleet battle. Well, now we can go like, hey, dudes, like, you don't actually need to subscribe to EVE. You can just press a button and hang out with us for an hour or two. No big deal. Here's a frigate. Off you go. Essentially, for major set piece battles, if you sound the horn of Gundor, even if you don't have alpha clone people playing on a daily basis, it allows you to reach back to people who haven't played in a while, get them back easily, and make a strategic impact.
Yeah, so, and then one last thing. We're running out of time here, but we can go as long as we want on this. We've talked about the patch notes. The patch notes are officially live, so anything you would expect to find out that are extremely important are finalized now in the Ascension patch notes, and we have linked those in chat already, and you can go through those and pick through it. There was nothing really new I noticed coming off of the patch notes that wasn't already noticeable. But I want to move up to a controversial topic, and this is going to be a Reddit link because it was brought on Reddit, but the reason I'm talking about it here on this show is it exploded. At first it was like, okay, 30 people commented and it was no big deal, but the comments are over 300, and it's an interesting topic to me because I've been doing cloaky camping now for 9 years. It was the first thing I got involved in with Black Ops. And the topic has always been, since I've been a newbie, what are we going to do about cloaky camping? It's broken as fuck. Okay, and the reason I bring this up here is it broken, or is it just where it needs to be? That's the question I give to you. Because,
well, I think...
Okay, sorry.
I mean, I think that's going to be a topic for next week's show, because cloaking camping, like, we can actually talk about this for easily 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, and we are at the very last minute.
So
here.
leading us into the next show, right?
So
here.
Next show, well, this is a great idea. Is that we should. So next week, and what we should start doing here, also, I'm realizing again, structure. We're trying to do structure. Jazz hands. We don't have transitions, but we're going to do this here for like an outro type thing before we play our goodbye swan song. Is we should probably start telling people what we're going to be talking about next week. So obviously next week we're going to be talking about the impact of the alpha clones. We'll have a discussion about AFK cloaking and whether it's good or bad. In addition to the usual nullsec news. We're hoping to see some sort of military action up north if Tribute heats up. The next vulnerability opportunity for the Imtaco Keepstar that CO2 holds is on Tuesday, so Tuesday Euro time. For all we know, we might see an actual attack on that Keepstar. Monday? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Monday.
So that's what to look for next week's meta show. We'll talk about cloaky camping and have a debate about that. We might even have a debate segment.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in some people.
Can you write that down? Let's have we can have like guests and debate a hot button issue like Crossfire.
Because this is a big topic to me. I've been dealing with this for a very long time. Also, something just got dropped in my desk right before we leave. We're not going to talk about this, but we can, if it has sold, one of the rarest ships in EVE Online, the State Raven issue, one of the ones that was used in the Alliance tournament. There's only 2 in the whole game, period. Biggest subcap in the game. is being sold by Care for Kids. They are getting rid of assets.
They really do care for kids there. They care for kids.
I
You know, there's cancer children with cancer kids with Raven state issues and Cambians.
Let me give you an idea
like
about
that.
this shit. The reason it's a big deal, it's worth trillions. Like, it's so rare and so big, I wouldn't even undock the motherfucker. I would never undock it. All of you would shoot that thing.
It makes perfect sense that these are children with cancer who have Raven state issues.
Yeah,
it's totally not a game.
How the hell do you get a Raven fucking state issue in Care for Kids? That doesn't even make any sense. Like,
wait, it's a front for I Want to ISK, who all got banned, so they're trying to cash out as best as they can before they themselves get banned.
Yeah.
How dare you, Boat and Matani, how dare you guys get up there on live TV and talk about how Care for Kids is clearly a sham and a front for I Want to ISK, and God forbid providing evidence and links to show exactly that.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how much these are worth, Blue Melon has one. He used it in the Alliance tournament. He bought it for $3 trillion. Cash.
Unassailable assets, as the executive producer of EVE Online said at the start of the show, unassailable assets ruin the game, and we're delighted to see some of this last bit of poison getting blood out of the game.
So I want to thank Jay for sharing that little bit right there. So
let's that's fantastic.
That's a great ending.
Let's close us out, and next week we now know to always have an outro unless you know what to look forward to. So
yeah, I will see you guys next week. Or actually, Boat Show. Fuck, Boat Show's up next. God damn it.
Show.
Yeah,
Boat Show.
Bye everyone.
Show.
See you in like 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Fuck. Don't leave.
Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for more Boat. Boat.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.